But we'll go through the criminal complaint. Some people are just not going to believe what's in the criminal complaint, period. But we'll read it. Viva makes things slightly worse, but Nancy is second in line to the presidency behind only Kamara, so security ought to have been even tighter. And people say, well, she wasn't there. So, no security. Anybody could have just broken in and planted a listening device, planted an explosive device. No, she wasn't there. So leave the mansion unattended. And worse still, they're worth what? The family's worth $220 million. That drug pharma guy in Canada, multi-million. Hey, no. Politics aside, a family worth 200 and some odd million dollars, they're going to protect themselves and they're going to have security. If Rand Paul had been in his yard in his underwear and attacked by his neighbor in his underwear that day, what questions would the media have asked? I would have asked the same questions. No, but it's amazing when Scalise gets shot up on the football field. Let's not jump to conclusions, people. When there's virtually video evidence of it. When Rand Paul gets beaten up by his neighbor, neighborly disputes, nothing political. When initial reports from mainstream media were saying that the individual was found in his underwear, nobody asks questions because that makes zero sense. And then immediately, reflexively, 2 weeks before the midterms, they run with the talking points. Matt Gertz accusing Fox of running with talking points. Hillary Clinton comes out. The press secretary, Jean-Pierre, comes out. Politically motivated, right-wing extremists, akin to January 6th. Like, we've learned nothing from prior events. You want to create people doubting an incident, doubting the motivation, immediately weaponize it, immediately politicize it. Can you imagine anybody in good conscience drawing an analogy between this attack, about which we know very little other than the guy is batshit crazy, and drawing analogies to January 6th? And then they accuse other people of conspiracy theories. Yeah. And by the way, all that the media has to do, after the media runs this apparently totally bunk story, that he was in his underwear. After they run that, they go in the stealth edit. We've revised the article. All's good. We've washed our hands. But anybody who repeats it, or anybody who came to their own conclusions based on it, they're the conspiracy theorists. Misinformation, disinformation. We've got to censor them. Okay. Anyway, but let's and the funny thing is, the French types, they will say, "Is anybody going to go look over the complaint? Anybody going to do what needs to be done?" And then when people do it, not a peep, because it's not a genuine, sincere request. It too is a political attack. There's a Rumble rant. Time Bandit 66 says, "Viva, I hope that I am not the only one that did this. I tweeted Elon to get you out of Twitter jail. I would like to believe that it actually helped." I had a lot of people tweeting, so thank you all for that. But I knew it was just good. I knew it was going to come back. It didn't make sense. I suspect it was something of a brigade. People flagged that tweet because I'm asking the questions that some people are just not asking, and not asking them with accusations. I'm asking them with incredulity. Is that the right word? I'm asking them because the story doesn't make sense. And if people had asked, where were his clothes before even running the story, you might have said, oh, maybe the dude was in... The criminal complaint says he was in his shorts. But who knows? Now people are not going to believe the criminal complaint. People are going to believe the initial reports to be more accurate than the follow-up investigation. It's just like there will be no way of convincing everybody. Perhaps with the exception of releasing the body cam footage, or at least a portion of it. J Ash 62 says, "Viva, totally unrelated to topic. How about hanging examples of all of your merch behind you on the wall?" Booyah. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. It would look really cool instead of advertising. If you forget, it would help. Yeah. Hollow the sound. And not that I don't love my fossils. They're a little random because I'm not a fossil channel. Anyhow, so let's get to the criminal complaint, because this is the latest. It'll be up to everybody to now conclude the guy was out of his gourd, to quote something about Mary. But is this a politically motivated attack? And if it is it left? Is it right? Is it some dude who's just out of his mind? And all of that aside, how does an individual get into the house without triggering some alarm There's other aspects of the story that people, we'll get into it. Let's read this criminal complaint and we'll go through it fast, or not too fast, but okay, so this is the criminal complaint. I submit the affidavit for limited purposes, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Affiant background is special agent with the FBI. Okay, fine. We don't need this. Applicable statutes. Okay. Okay. Facts supporting probable cause. Now, I'm so nervous about not having the right document. Hold on. Okay, this is the right document. Facts supporting probable cause. On October 28 at 2:23 in the morning, San Francisco Dispatch received a 911 call from Paul Pelosi, located at the Pelosi residence in San Francisco. Pelosi stated words to the effect that there's a male in the home and that the male is going to wait for Pelosi's wife. Pelosi further conveyed that he does not know who the male is. The male said his name is David. Well, if anyone heard the recording, he actually said also, and he is a friend. As I said at the time, easily explainable by someone who's trying to placate an intruder who might be out of their mind. We're friends. Yeah, don't worry about it, dude. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. So, yeah. At 2:31, San Francisco Police Department Officer Colby Williams responded to the Pelosi residence, California, knocked on the door. When the door was opened, Pelosi and DePop were both holding a hammer with one hand, and DePop had his other hand on Pelosi's forearm. So I've got a question. Maybe we'll get to it. When the door was opened is a passive way of describing someone who opened the door. Who opened the door? Serious question. Who opened the door? Is the man who's there to assault Paul Pelosi going to open the door for cops? Did Paul Pelosi go to the door to open it for the cops? Maybe it's going to be answered in here. Who opened the door? Because it would make very little sense if the man who's there to kneecap Nancy Pelosi, as we're going to see later down, or assault her husband, as he apparently did, is going to open the door for cops. Pelosi greeted the officers. The officers asked them what was going on. DePop responded that everything was good. Officers then asked Pelosi and DePop to drop the hammer. I'm getting more questions just reading this. DePop pulled the hammer from Pelosi's hand and swung the hammer, striking Pelosi in the forehead. Jesus, that's terrible. Officers immediately went inside and were able to restrain DePop. How did it even get that far? This is 2:30 in the morning. An 82-year-old man and a 42-year-old man, after a 911 call has been placed, allegedly grappling over a hammer, and the cops are asking them what's going on? It doesn't make sense. And I'm not conspiratorial. It doesn't make sense. Pelosi appeared to be unconscious on the ground. Officers removed a cell phone, cash, slipper cards, and an unidentified card from DePop's right shorts pocket. So there you have an answer. Maybe he was shirtless. Someone walking around San Francisco at night shirtless might be a little bit more plausible. DePop provided officers with his first and last name. Officers asked DePop if he had an idea. DePop said it might be in his backpack, which would explain how he came in with the things on the back porch, and later stated his backpack was near the broken glass. When officers removed DePop from Pelosi's residence, police body-worn camera footage showed, when they removed him, police body-worn camera footage showed a glass door that appeared to be laminated glass broken near the door handle. Okay, they removed the zip ties from the bedroom and hallway near the Pelosi residence. In addition, law enforcement searched DePop's backpack at the residence, and they found, among other things, a roll of tape, white rope, one hammer, one pair of rubber and cloth gloves, and a journal. Okay, they're saying here that the body-worn camera footage, when officers removed DePop from Pelosi's residence, the footage showed. Well, I presume the footage was running from the moment they arrived. I presume. I don't know standard police protocol, but I presume it was activated from the moment they arrived, which should easily substantiate and evidence the allegation at paragraph 10, and potentially make sense of why they didn't do anything immediately when they saw Nancy Pelosi's husband, an 82-year-old man, apparently struggling over a hammer with a 42-year-old man in his residence after having called 911. Witness statements, they were able to witness S was able to interview a witness who saw an individual in all black carrying a large black bag on his back walking near the Pelosi residence where witness 1 was parked. Witness 1 was working private security at an address nearby. When witness 9 heard what sounded like banging on either a door or a car, and then heard sirens within a minute or two. Pelosi was interviewed. by the San Francisco Police Department. Officer, okay, fine. During transport, Pelosi was asleep when DePop came in and stated he wanted to talk to Nancy. When Pelosi told him that Nancy was not there, DePop stated he would sit and wait. Pelosi stated his wife would not be home for several days, and then DePop reiterated that he would wait. Pelosi was able to go to the bathroom, which is when he was able to call 911. Police stated that when officers arrived, that was when DePop struck him with the hammer. In the subsequent, it's interesting. I mean, I'm thinking just hypercritical analytically. It's some things are not making sense. Some things might be making a little more sense. I want to see what the chat is saying about this in terms of, I'll go back to the comments afterwards. Because I want to see what people have to say about this. I mean, this is it has some gaps, to put it mildly, in my legal analytical brain. In a subsequent interview with law enforcement, Pelosi stated that DePop had a hammer with him during the events described at the Pelosi residence. Further, the hammer did not belong to the Pelosi family. Okay. DePop's interview. This is where you'll take, people might take it with a grain of salt if they think that this man is already totally off the rails, which by all accounts he seems to be. In a Mirandized and recorded interview, DePop provided the following information. DePop stated he was going to hold Nancy hostage and talk to her. If Nancy were to tell DePop the truth, he would let her go. If she lied, we've read about this in the paper now. DePop was certain that Nancy would not have told the truth. DePop also explained that, skipping to the end, he wanted to use Nancy to lure other individual to DePop. DePop also explained generally that he wanted to use Nancy to lure another individual to DePop. DePop stated that he broke into the residence through a glass door, which was a difficult task that required the use of a hammer. DePop stated that Pelosi was in bed and appeared surprised. DePop told Pelosi to wake up. He was looking for Nancy. Pelosi responded that she was not present. Pelosi asked how they could resolve the situation and what DePop wanted to do. Pelosi stated he wanted to tie Pelosi up so that DePop could go to sleep, as he was tired from having had to carry a backpack to the Pelosi residence. Around this time, according to DePop started taking out twist ties from his pocket so that he could restrain Pelosi. Pelosi moved to another part of the house, but DePop stopped him, and together they went back into the bedroom. While talking with each other, Pelosi went into the bathroom. Okay, this here is a big jump. While talking with each other, Pelosi went into a bathroom where Pelosi grabbed a phone and dialed 911. DePop stated he felt like Pelosi's action compelled him to respond. Did he not lock the bathroom door? Some people were saying, you get into the bathroom, do you not just immediately lock the door, call the cops, and hope they get there in time? DePop remembered thinking there was no way the police were going to forget about the phone call. DePop explained that he did not leave after Pelosi's call because, much like an American founding fathers with the British, he was fighting against tyranny without the option of surrender. Items found at DePop's residence. Interesting. So do we know where the residence is? Because some people were saying that the image that we saw in the news was not actually where DePop resided. On October 29, 2022, law enforcement determined that DePop lived in the garage of a residence on Shasta Street in Richmond, California, by interviewing the owner of the premise, who confirmed that DePop had resided in the garage for approximately 2 years. On October 29, 2022, law enforcement searched the garage of the Shasta Street residence pursuant to a federal warrant. Among other things, agents seized 2 hammers, a sword, and a pair of rubber gloves. The agents also found evidence that DePop lived in the garage, including DMV paperwork, IRS letters, and PayPal credits. That's the criminal complaint.